MovieWeb.com.
How much do you know about Bond? His MI6 says he's difficult to control. Nice way of saying that everything he touches seems to wither and die.
If you could avoid killing every possible lead, it would be deeply appreciated.
I'll do my best.
I've heard that before.
How difficult physically was it to keep up with the momentum of this film? Because it seems like the most action-packed Bond film ever made.
You prepare yourself as much as you possibly can. You rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and when it's ready, when the first day of shooting, you wind it up and let it go. I mean, it's a Bond movie. If you can't get excited about that, I don't know what else you can get excited about.
I don't think you can get excited about anything else,
not during that. Not during the filming. Sure, certainly not.
All I have to say after watching this is, wow, did you guys set out to make the most non-stop action-packed James Bond ever filmed?
Well, I think we thought that we would be having more action in this film than there was in Casino Royale because of the card game through the middle of Casino Royale. It was an intriguing kind of situation, but it wasn't the traditional action style. But so we went back to having more action, I think, in this film, and I think it turned out really well. Marc and the directors, assistant, the second unit directors did a fantastic job.
Over the years, you've made some of my favorite dramas, like especially Stranger Than Fiction, last year with Kite Runner. Was it an easy transition moving into such an action-packed film with Quantum of Solace?
No, I wouldn't call it an easy transition. It's definitely a lot of pressure, and Casino Royale was the most successful Bond ever, and the expectations were enormous, and and Bond has such a public attention constantly, so you carry that weight with you on your shoulders while you're directing it. But at the same time, I've just tried to calm down, focus on what it's really what kind of movie I want to make, and try to visualize that.
We didn't settle on the price.
Make me an offer.
We can work it out later. Over drinks. Dominic didn't give you any trouble, did he?
No.
What the hell is this?
I think someone wants to kill you.
At what point did you decide you wanted to become a Bond girl, or was this something that was just kind of pushed upon you at some point?
I didn't really decide. I actually didn't, I didn't, you never know you can be one. And when they started the casting, my agent just told me about it, and of course I went, because this is, especially after seeing Casino Royale, I really thought the movie started to change and it became different. I mean, the Bond was different, and which I thought he was one of the best ones, and the James Bond girl part evolved, and I thought, wow, this is a really cool moment to try to be a part of the movie, because it's really evolving in a good way.
Well, no, we had an interesting conversation after seeing the movie about how this flawless, beautiful woman has this scar on her back, and because of that, it makes her almost more obtainable to some of the nerdier people in the audience watching the James Bond. I was just wondering what your take on that was.
Yeah, well, that's why this character is interesting, because she's different, and she is. To me, she's real. She's even more of a real woman. She's. I can totally relate to the character. I mean, she's driven. She's independent, strong. She got hurt in the past when she was a child, and of course, motivation is revenge. Which is something very tough to deal with, but that's her story, and she's going for it. And she's not just this girl who is like an arm candy, which we've seen before anyway.
Now, with this film, were you happy to kind of ditch some of the cliches like "My name is Bond," James Bond, and the whole?
It's not about whether I'm happy about it. It's just whether it fits in, and I really I love those cliches, sayings, Bondisms, whatever you want to call them. They're all part of what Bond is about. I just think we need to deserve them to put them in, and when we get it right, and when at the right moment, they'll be in the movie. And You know, I drink martinis in this. I just, you know, drink 6 of them straight. It's like, you know, it's trying to play around with the concept as opposed to just dropping them in because they should be there.
Well, I was going to say the martini scene actually is one of the great scenes in the movie where the guy explains what you are drinking.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Did that come just off the set, or was that always something that was in the script?
It was something because it's from Casino, and it's obviously it's the martini he's drinking is called the Vesper, which is he names after the Vesper Link character. So, and it's a big old drink, you know, it's a vodka gin kind of concoction. They work, I tell you.
What was one of your favorite stunt scenes to shoot in this that you had a lot of fun with?
The free fall was quite incredible. We had to learn how to do that in this wind tunnel. That was hard work, but really exhilarating. There was a foot chase sequence in Siena, which I loved, because you know, I you know, dealing with heights and dealing with jumping from height is, you know, it gives you a kick. Put it that way.
What are you doing?
Hold on! You know that?
Out of all the Bond movies, what one thing did you always want to see that you were able to bring to your version of it?
You know, I always, you know, I imagine I wanted to make the Bond film I would love to go and see. So I went back to the 60s, the early Bonds I always loved, and took sort of some of that design from like Ken Adams, from sort of that retro feel, and added it to the Bond. I was making at the same time juxtapose that to sort of like a modernized version of MI6 and so on. So I have those sort of two visual styles butted against one another. And at the same time, I was looking, you know, for locations. They're always, you know, the Bond locations are always characters themselves. To look at something which is really breathtaking and interesting, and sort of that's how I started like building up the concept and visual concept for the movie. At the same time, I thought it was important when I sat down with Daniel about the character that it's important that Bond has sort of an emotional texture to it, and it's not just a pure action adventure film. That there's sort of like a sort of an emotional texture built within the story as well.
How many of the cuts and bruises that we see on screen are actually yours? 'Cause
None of them. None of them.
None of them?
No, of course not. No, it's all. That Paul's here. He's my makeup artist, and he does them all. He creates all that brilliant looks. It's you know, there's all the stuff that really happens. We have to spend our time covering up because otherwise it screws around with the continuity.
Well, how many of the cuts and scrapes that we see on screen are actually yours and not makeup? Because I hear a lot of it is.
Yeah, you know,
actually
it's funny. At some point, yeah, there were scenes where, in the beginning, you know, we had to to match. We had to add some cuts, and then you know, a few hours later, you know, the makeup artist didn't have to paint them because I had them. So I actually was. There were some, you know, scratches and bleeding, and you know, which were real. So, but you know, it's all fine.
It goes
I'm
with the
still alive.
territory, I
Yeah,
guess.
but it's fine for the character.
How do you see this character evolving in the next 2 films that you are up for?
We can do anything we want now. One of the deals about Quantum of Solace was to tie up all the loose ends from Casino, make sure that we were, you know, that we dealt with the idea that he'd be falling in love, he'd had his heart broken, that there was this organization out there, and that he needed to tackle. And now we know more about them. Now we know that he, you know, that he was in love, and it's now we can do whatever we want. We can, you know, we can have a submarine base, we can have an underwater base, we can do whatever we want.
I was gonna say that Mark's joking that maybe he's gonna take it into space like Moonraker. Now that's a joke, right? You can't go that
No,
far
we won't
with
do
it.
that. Does he want to do another one?
Yeah, he was talking.
Excellent. He's all excited now. That's great. We've got him back. We have him.
Was he not that excited?
No, I mean, look, I mean, it's the same way I feel when I finish one of these movies. The last thing I want to do is actually think about doing another one. So if he's excited about doing another one, I'm very happy.
I thought I could trust you. You said you weren't motivated by revenge.
I'm motivated by my duty.
I think you're so blinded by inconsolable rage that you don't care who you hurt.
You lost somebody?
I did.
You catch whoever did it?
No. Not yet.